Speaking of prospects climbing up the rankings, Jake Paul announces his next opponent, Mike Tyson. Curious to get your thoughts on this one. Clearly, this is a money fight. What are your thoughts?
Anyone who listens to the show knows that I give my props to Paul because he came from YouTube, 20 million followers, whatever. He had a vision that he was going to get into boxing, and he acted on that vision. He said, I got to get a trainer. I think he's been through a couple trainers now. He said, I got to get a trainer. I got to learn the sport. I got to work. I got to respect the sport, and he did. And he picked his opponents as carefully as he could. But he fought some, UFC former champs that were older. They fought at a smaller weight. He always had an edge. The same way Canelo has an edge because Canelo's the golden goose. Canelo brings the money, so he gets an edge to get things in his favor a little bit because he's the one who butters everyone's bread. Well, Paul is the one bringing the money, doing the promotion. So, yes, he gets the advantage of picking who he wants to, picking the music for the songs. So, look, we understand all that. This is where I'm going to throw people a curveball. First of all, he's actually fighting a guy who finally, I know he's much older than him, but is naturally the bigger guy. Because Paul fights at about cruiserweight, 190. So this guy's naturally the bigger guy. He's fighting a legendary, iconic fighter. A guy who was one of the greatest punchers in heavyweight history, one of the greatest punchers ever with either hand, and one of the greatest combinations of speed and power. Yeah, he's 58 years old. Yeah, the end of his career wasn't too good before he got out. But one of the last things that go with a fighter is his power.
Yep.
I think this is a very dangerous fight for Paul.
Interesting.
I think he might be making a mistake because, first of all, for me, he don't got a lot other than money, and he's made plenty of money. There's not a lot to winning on his side because if he wins, they say he's 58 years old.
Yep. That's right.
And if he loses, they say he's 58 years old. You lost to a 58-year-old guy. For me, he's got a lot more to lose than Tyson.
Oh, for sure.
A lot more. I mean, Tyson, whatever they're paying him, he's been making good money. He's come back, like I said, in his life. He's done a good job. Him and the people around him. I guess his wife is part of that, obviously, where they've done a good job to get him on the track they've gotten him on. And he seems to be in a good place in all ways. I know at one point he owed the government everything. He seems to be well past that. That's in his rearview mirror, where he's made plenty of money again in his career. But there's nothing to lose for Tyson. If he wins, he's even bigger than, in some way, wow, people are going to thank him. Thank you for ending this charade, they're going to say. Thank you for teaching this guy that you're either a fighter or you're not a fighter. You can't go from being a YouTuber to being a fighter. For the people that believe that feel that way, that don't like Paul, they're gonna prop up Tyson even higher and say, thanks for teaching these guys a lesson. Don't come into your business. Don't come into boxing if you weren't a boxer, if you didn't pay your dues from the beginning. All that stuff, which I don't think is fair completely. But I get it. A lot of people feel that way about Joshua, that they're thankful. And I get that. I even brought it up, that he helped the sport of boxing. He stood up for the sport of boxing by knocking out Ngannou, an MMA fighter. Again, showing that, hey, MMA fighter, as talented as he was, if you're going to fight in a boxing ring with only boxing ring, not MMA rules, but only boxing rules, a top fighter is going to beat you. So when he fought that close fight with Fury, people were like, ha, ha, ha. A lot of the MMA fighters say, see, we're better than boxers. So the Joshua fight was for more than himself. In that way, it was to kind of, it was for the pride of his sport. for the fans of the sport to say MMA fighter or football player or basketball player or a great athlete in another sport can't come and beat a top fighter because you haven't done it long enough. You haven't paid the dues. Well, this is the same situation. I'm sure Tyson is a historian. Tyson follows all the great former fighters. Tyson probably in his mind wants to show, hey, you can't beat a champion. I don't care how old he is if you weren't a fighter. So in that way, I'm sure Tyson will kind of take pride in kind of protecting the reputation of boxing, if you want to put it that way. I'm sure that he'll take pride in that. I'm gonna make you your hair stand up again. Unless this is a WWE agreement, which I don't know if it is. I never said this before, Ken. You know that.
That's right.
But because I think all these fights are legitimate, and they are, and have been. But this one makes me wonder. And I'm not questioning the integrity of Paul. Matter of fact, I like his integrity. I like what I've seen from the guy. Here, when the last fight was Serrano, she didn't fight. He paid everyone their money. He gave. He had no choice. I get it, but he gave refunds. He's been pretty straightforward. So I'm not questioning, but I'm just saying, if there was a time I would question it, this would be the time, because I can't see, unless Paul's that confident that Tyson is too old now, and he's that good, because Paul's been getting more confident. And Paul does have a good right hand, and he does punch well with it. And Tyson does lead with left hooks. Maybe Paul thinks he can hit him with a right hand in between. I don't know. All I know is this is the first time I've actually said, I wonder if there's an agreement. Because if there's no agreement, Paul might be making a mistake. Now, look, he's liable to hit Tyson, 58 years old, reaching in with a left hook, hit him on the chin, and knock him out. Tyson was knocked out a couple times at the end of his career before he was 58. And then people are going to say, oh, wow, look at Paul. And it'll wind up being a genius move. But I think that I think the risk might be greater than the reward. I am really surprised in that way. I think I laid out all scenarios of the possibilities, but I am surprised that Paul's taking this risk. I don't know if it's because of his confidence or he just really does feel Tyson is that much, obviously that deteriorated at this point in his life where he can handle it. But I'm saying you better be aware, the way I would be, knowing Tyson the way I do. Power doesn't disappear, even when you're old. He's still got speed, combination. He's still got that style and that teaching that he was taught to make you miss and create openings for that power. See, he still has that, where he can weave, he can slip, he can create the openings to give himself the possibility to unload a bomb on your chin and get you out of there. Unless no agreement set aside, no agreement, no funny business, dangerous, risky. I give him credit, but a risky fight for Paul, especially early. Yeah. Tyson's going to come out there.
Well, that should certainly
and if you do have an agreement with him, good luck.
That's a good point.
Because I know Tyson. Good luck. Because when that bell rings, he might have a short memory about any agreement other than the agreement to put put one of those hands on your chin. And one last thing, I somebody told me about a couple. They're building it up, they're promoting it, right? And Tyson has put out a couple of videos looking good in the gym, and then basically, saying to Paul, you made a mistake, and doing what Tyson does, intimidating type tactic. Tyson he's as good as that. He's as good at that as he is in hurting people with his combinations. He's
That's for
he's
sure.
just as he always has been. I mean, he's been an intimidator in the lines of his Sonny Liston, of Roberto Duran. You know, he knows how to intimidate, and he knows what it can do for him. He knows
right.
that it can break a guy down before the first bell even rings. So
Yeah.
he's either doing that and he's doing it at a high level again, or he's just promoting the fight, or a combination of both. But anyway, I just think that I think it has the ancient football.